What's up, guys? Let's talk about the struggles of caring for family members. I was just talking to a guy who contacted me through my website and was saying that he's really struggling. He's a veteran, he's disabled, and basically, between his rent and his utilities, his rent keeps going up. It's gone up $1,000 since 2016. He said basically he has no money for food or really anything else at the end of the day, so he's living um, off of food from the food pantry. And he said that basically what happened is he spent the last he'd had a great job most of his life and had worked really hard, but spent the last 5 or so years taking care of a disabled brother and his mother who was getting who was elderly. And this is a reoccurring story that I keep hearing about, where people take time off of their jobs. They just have to care for elderly folks. And then when those people pass on, they find themselves in a position where they can't get back into the job market, and they've used all the resources taking care of those relatives. And this is a really big issue, and we really need to think about how this is going to work in the coming decade as more and more baby boomers enter into retirement and are aging, and who's going to be taking care of them. And this is just a conversation that we need to keep having. And I hate to say it, but it all comes back down to housing. And we need to start asking our parents, hey, who's going to be taking care of you when you can't do it any longer? And is it going to be your kid? And if so, which kid? and so forth. Because frankly, we don't have the LNAs and the nurses and the firefighters to take care of this aging population. I keep saying it. And I just hope people are really getting the message, because here's what's going to happen. It's going to be kind of ironic if we don't build enough housing. So, we have this thing, local control, where the locals can control what housing is built. And right now they're saying we don't, for the most part, in many places saying we don't want any housing. And what's happening is the locals who grow up in that town, because of local control, are getting priced out. So they're leaving. And who's moving in? People from out of state who can afford to buy their homes and can buy the homes of the people who can no longer afford to live here and rent the homes. That rent's going up. And then what's going to happen in the next decade if we don't build more housing is the elderly folks who grew up here are going to find that they can't stay, that they have to go to places, in the Midwest where they can build tons of retirement homes really quick, like Ohio or, somewhere like that, where they can build these massive buildings and house lots of elderly folks. They're going to have to move there because there's just not going to be the beds, and the health care will not be available in New Hampshire. And then who's going to be left? In a decade or so, this state is going to be completely dominated by people that weren't from here. And it's all going to be because of local control. Won't that be ironic when local control leads to the locals getting priced out and the control going to people from out of state? I just think fundamentally people who grew up in New Hampshire should be able to afford to live in New Hampshire. Okay, you shouldn't have to work in Massachusetts to afford a home in New Hampshire, and that's the case right now. So that's why I'm running for governor.